Well, welcome to another episode of If I Had More Time. These are questions that are asked in live events, and we didn't get to them. And so we always like to be able to go through those questions we weren't able to get to because we find that they will be helpful to those that were in attendance and many of you. So, introducing Megan Hibbert, who's going to ask me the questions today. I have not seen these questions, so let's go.
Yep. Our first question for today is, how do I invest in the S&P?
The S&P. So the S&P stands for Standard & Poor's. It is 500 companies that are based in America that they feel like are most representative of the American economy. Since January 1, 1941, that has yielded a compound annual growth rate, which means if you drew a straight line from 1941 to today, if you reinvested all profit-sharing dividends, it would yield 11.41% a year. Pretty good. Okay, that's a straight line. It is not a straight line. But how do you invest in it? Every 401k has a 500 index fund, mutual fund. Charles Schwab, Fidelity, any Vanguard. And so you can purchase 5 shares in a 500 index fund, whether a mutual fund or an ETF, and you'll have a little snippet of all 500 of those companies. Those companies include Tesla, a lot of great companies that are in the S&P 500.
Great. All right, our next question. I have a 401k. Should I allow the company to invest where they think it's best, or should I try to figure out where to invest it?
This is a great question. We know that Proverbs 15:22 says plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. If you are not going to do the due diligence to research your investments, I encourage you to get wise counsel. So yes, it will come at a fee, but make sure you use that counsel, meet with them on a regular basis, no less than once a year, okay? Ideally, maybe a couple times a year. And make sure that as you hear what they're suggesting, you ask the question, does that make sense? Do I understand what they're saying? Make sure you have understanding.
Okay. All right, this question comes from Kim. She said, where should I invest $500 to $1,000 that can grow with low risk?
This is a great question, Kim. Hey, listen, we all want the low and no risk. Low and no risk is, it does exist in investing, but investing in and of itself carries risk. The connotation is investing has risk. Saving is for safekeeping. Investing, well, that's for gain, but it also has risk.
Right.
It's like when the farmer puts seed in the ground, there is risk taken. The seed could mold, a mouse could eat it, a bird could eat it, something could dig it up. Once it sprouts, it could have a hailstorm, a late freeze. Lots of things can happen, but the farmer knows without taking risk, there is no return. So where could you put your $500 to $1,000? If I woke up tomorrow in your shoes, listen, if I don't need the money in the next 5 years, then it's eligible for investing. Joe's 5-year rule. I would put it in an S&P 500 index fund. I wouldn't look to the left or the right.
Where is the best place to move my 401k when I leave my job?
Oh, that's great. Great question. Lots of people have these old 401ks. I, of course, refer to these as oxen. Investments are oxen. And so this could be a herd of oxen that you kind of abandoned, and they might be fat and growing and doing great and having babies and multiplying. Or they could be starving in a drought. They could be stuck in mud. You don't know if you're not paying attention to it. So here's what I would say. If you like your investment options with 401k and they will let you leave it there, then leave it there if you're going to pay attention to it. If you're not going to pay attention to it, or you don't like the investment options, I would encourage you to roll it over. 3 different options are great. I like Vanguard. I like Fidelity. My favorite is Schwab. They don't pay me to say that, but that's just the order that I like. My number 1 one is Schwab. Number 2 one is Fidelity, then Vanguard. And you can do a rollover IRA, and they will take care of everything for you, which means you don't incur a tax burden or anything. They will handle it for you.
How do you know if you are living above your means?
Well, it's a great question. Well, your friends will know. But really, it's if you look at your bank accounts, and I wouldn't look in a 1 month window, I would look in these 3 to 6 year month windows. If your account balances have went down and your credit card balances have went up, you're living beyond your means. And so there's nothing more helpful than to go review your last 60 to 90 days of spending on your credit card and your bank accounts and ask the question, why did I spend that money? Does that make sense? Am I happy with that decision today? What caused me to make that decision? And then using that data to help you prepare a budget so that 90 days from now, when you look at the last 90 days, you will be much happier and pleased with your decision making. A budget will really help you understand, have you been living beyond your means?
Should I take money from my savings to pay credit card debt?
Very common question. The good news is you have savings. Great job. Should you use it? We always say refer to the fully funded life ladder. Maybe we can pull that up on the screen. But the fully funded life ladder starts with setting goals. That's rung 1. 2, saving enough money that equals 1 month worth of expenses. So this question comes into play. And number 3, are you contributing enough to get the full company match in a company retirement plan? Or if you don't have a matching amount, $100 a month, whichever is greater. And then you get to the debt payoff. So should you withdraw from savings to pay off debt? I would say, have you wrote down your plans, hopes, and dreams so that this is guided by those? 2, is your savings more than 1 month worth of expenses? If it is, then you may have money eligible to pay off debt. 3, are you contributing to your company retirement plan? Or $100 a month, whichever is greater. If all those are true, and you have more than you need for rung number 2 savings, then it could make sense to take excess money beyond 1 month's worth of expenses to pay down debt. This is especially true if you can completely eliminate specific debts with that extra savings, because that will free up your monthly payment. A lot of times, Megan, the reason people are fearful of that is because they know that they really don't have a budget and they're not really good at savings and they're a little timid about that. Well, I would just say prepare a budget and live by it for 3 to 6 months and prove to yourself that you're incurring no new debt. Then you can make the decision to use excess savings to pay down debt.
What are your strategies to turn your business around if it's in the red?
Strategy number 1, put together a cash flow plan that looks month by month, looking for the next 12 months. And say, is this a seasonality issue? So I'm in the red for this season, but then I'm in the profit for 3 or 4 or 5 months, and it's way more profitable during that time than I am loss-wise, because many businesses have that cycle. And then load in all the expenses you anticipate, all the income that you can count on, and then you're going to have to make some serious decisions. Many times this is helpful with some wise counsel in your life to help you navigate, hey, do I need to reduce staff? Do I need to find a different place to do business? Do I need the space that I have? Do I need to get rid of a line of business that's not productive or not profitable? Maybe I need to go back and refocus on our core of what we're good at. A lot of times we've seen this happen in bakeries when the bakery is expanded and now it's a coffee shop. And then they're like, well, what if we had a deli? And the next thing you know, they have 2 shifts of people versus 1 shift. They've lost their core focus of the bakery, and the deli crowd doesn't make any money. They have a lot more loss. Sometimes people expand beyond their ability to manage it or their customers' willingness to accept it. And so a cash flow plan, some wise counsel, that will be very essential to helping you figure out what steps you should take. Great question. I love that question.
All right. What is an additional smart, aggressive way to invest when you are 5 years away from retirement? Ooh.
Well, you just mentioned my magic number, 5 years. If you're in the 5-year window and you think you'll need the money, hey, I'm not going to invest that money, any new money. If you have existing money, you have to kind of do a separation of the dollars I have that I've accrued. Maybe it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. I hope it is. You're getting ready to retire. What do I think I'll need in the next 5 years? All of that, I'm putting in savings, safekeeping, FDIC insured stuff, CDs, treasuries, money market funds, things like that. Any money I think I won't need for the next 5 years, which should be a lot of it, I'm going to continue to invest that money. Maybe the 5 to 10 year window will have less risk. The 10 to 15 year window, a little more risk. Anything beyond 15 years, I think I'll still be taking risk. Now, I'm not at that retirement age yet, and I just got notified by ARP that I'm eligible for ARP. So come see me 15 years from now. Maybe I'll have a different appetite for risk, but today, that would be my answer. Is that helpful? Awesome. Hey, thanks so much for sharing your questions. We love being able to answer your questions. Join us again in the future for another If I Had More Time. It's an honor and a privilege to serve you as you live your fully funded life. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hey, I encourage you to click the links that are provided to watch a lot of more helpful content that'll help you live your fully funded life. Thanks for being a part of our community.